Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Sister Wives season 19 review. The title is Let There Be Light, and one of the things that made me so excited was Janelle actually letting us know some things where it kind of does seem like there is a light bulb that's clicking there. Go ahead, do me a favor, hit the like button as it helps the channel. I'm going to go over some things. This is not going to be super duper in depth. We may do a couple of say what after the episode and based on the comments and based on whatever they do this week. But if there's something that I missed that you'd like to talk about, feel free to put it down below. So let's begin. We start off the episode in Salt Lake, Utah. Isabel, we're told, is in her apartment. Maddie and Janelle previously spent the night because they were helping move Isabel from Maddie's house. And now they're going to be heading to look at a property. Apparently, Maddie and Caleb have been looking at properties back since Christine and Janelle went to go hang out and ride ATVs and things of that nature with Christine's family. So Christine is excited knowing that Janelle is now going to be a part of this and that there's a possibility in Janelle leaving. Janelle tells us that her and Baldylocks, look, one of the videos, somebody said that's what they call them. It called Bald Eagle, and I cannot get Baldylocks out of my mind. But Janelle and the Bald Eagle are done. They don't communicate. They live in Flagstaff, but they are not together. She says, we haven't had an official divorce, but I don't know how to get one, and I don't need it. I like Janelle. I do. But based on whatever her religious beliefs are, she clearly knows how to go about getting a divorce. And if she really wanted to get one, she could get one. But it doesn't seem like she wants to get one. And that's fine if she doesn't, because really on paper, she doesn't need to. Now, as far as the seals and all that stuff goes, that's a whole nother story for her to take up with her belief system. But if she's satisfied with just being apart from him and saying they're not together anymore, then let it be that. At least she's now saying that she's not going to go back, and before she wasn't sure. So she talks to Maddie about Coyote Pass while they're on the way to look at this other property and how Cody is stalling to pay the land. One piece is marked as Cody and Janelle's, another Cody and Robin, another Cody, Janelle, and Mary, and then another is Cody and Mary. I don't understand why these women, after seeing the way that he maneuvered, after seeing the way he's handled business, and after the way he's done things, why they would allow him to put his name on every last piece of that land, especially considering that part of that payment did actually come from them. So in my opinion, they should have had their own names on their own land. Janelle is the only person without a family asset. She says that Mary doesn't have one either, but Mary technically does. It's just not something that's through the family. It's an actual asset that she got on her own, because when she purchased the business, she did so with her own money. The fact that Cody them didn't want to lend her that $40,000 ended up being a blessing for Mary, because imagine if Cody was tied up in that business too. I said it before and I said it again. That's the best thing that Mary could have done. So the only thing that they get from their marriage with Cody at this point would be Coyote Pass. It's sad when you think about how much years they put into this thing. She says, the guy can take it back if we do not pay off the land. And I'm not sure if your dad is going to pay it off, but I think he's going to pay it off. The look on Maddie's face when she's like, I wasn't sure, but he's going to pay it off. He's going to pay it off. Maddie was like, which is the same look that a lot of us probably had watching it, because Janelle is sitting over here being hopeful that he's going to actually be a stand-up person and pay off the land, when everyone, including a lot of his adult children, understand now that the bald eagle is unpredictable and he's unreliable, and he would do something like letting the land go just to prove a point and just to stick it to them where it hurts. She wants him to take this situation seriously because time is running out. And Cody is doing what he can do best, which is play games, stall, and treat people like they shouldn't have a say, because Cody says he doesn't trust Janelle. So he's not going to tell her anything when it comes to that land. They'll pay it off when the time is right. He's not giving her any details because he's tired of the family talking about what he says. Janelle hears that and she's like, he has a nerve to sit there and say anything about me when Cody is a sieve, meaning you can't say anything about me when you say stuff yourself. She says, he used to tell me things all the time about the wives. And I would listen to him and then I would tell him, I don't think you're supposed to tell me that, Janelle. I like you, but you were enjoying listening to the tea. You were enjoying him saying things. That was your best friend. So I'm sure that you guys did it a lot. He did it with all the wives at various points. Maddie asks, what are they going to do about Robin's house? Which is a great question. It's on the market currently. I do think that the wives should get a portion of that because they helped buy it, but we'll see how that plays out. Janelle really doesn't want to be there anymore. Meanwhile, the bird is sitting there in her confessional talking about how she still has hopes that Janelle and Mary would be there. And I hear her talk, and every time she opens her mouth, I'm wondering, is she acting here or does she really believe this? You all tell me down below, do you really think that the bird believes the stuff that's coming out of her mouth, out of her beak? Does she believe it? Mary's not going to be building there either. She doesn't feel like it makes sense at this point. Cody goes down the list of who would possibly be there. And he says out of all of his ex-wives, he thinks that Janelle would be the one to want to build on that property. And now he needs to decide whether or not he wants to be neighbors with someone who says, I'm done with you. Funny how he can't be neighbors with someone who says, I'm done with you when it comes to him. But at one point, he expected for Christine to be okay with being neighbors with him when he wanted to be done with her. He thought it was okay for Mary to be neighbors with him when he was done with her. So Cody can clearly dish it, but he can't take it. Maddie says, we could finance those last few acres and sell it if that's what we need to do. And Janelle says that would be nice. And we could share the proceeds with Mary because the family bought that land. Janelle then tells us that she wants to be fair because they use family money and they use family money for Robin's house. And she's looking at the way things have gone and she's realizing more than ever that Mary has been treated badly. The bird lets us know that her home, when bought, was originally supposed to be a family asset. That is what they say, but it's not what their actions show. The bird says it was never supposed to be just hers, but Janelle points out that when they made the purchase on the home, that she had wanted all of the adults' name to be on Robin's mortgage, but the bald eagle said no. They need to protect Robin's estate. It needs to be hers and theirs. Cody wouldn't put all their names on Robin's house, which is ironic to me because you're not putting all their names on the house when Robin never had a real job. The only job that Robin has had since being in this family is dictating whatever was supposed to be done with Sister Wives Closet, making them oogly pieces, and I don't know, giving Cody whatever he needs. So it's kind of laughable that you aren't willing to put these other wives who put their hard-earned money on that property, and instead you want to protect her asset. Meanwhile, you're okay, regardless if you wanted Janelle to purchase Christine's house or not, you're okay with her not having anything. So now Janelle wants to recoup some of the money that she put into the house. And when I heard her say it, I said, good for you, Janelle. It's about time that you show us that you're going to come out with a backbone and you're going to get him where it hurts. And of course, the bird says, Janelle says she put money into the house. I don't even know how we would go about that. I don't even know how we would even begin to calculate that because we've worked together. I'll tell you how you can calculate it. When Janelle hires a forensic accountant and they stick it to your feathered tails, you'll find out real easily how they can calculate things when they start looking at how you all are spending money. And I really, really hope that happens extremely soon, especially since Christine now has a case on you and your man. Well, let me not say her man. Maddie says, Coyote Pass should have been paid off. Janelle agrees. She says, I've watched him add other debts onto things. He'll tell me it hasn't been paid off because we have these debts. And yet he's purchasing more and more things. He's buying assets and he's sitting on them. And I love that she said it because she pointed it out again beforehand when she was talking about wanting to build on that land and needing them to hurry up and pay off the property. That was over a year ago. She says he has trailers and I see all the art on their walls. I have money that I've spent on things too, but I'm noticing what they're doing. Cody's like, look, all the wives took care of their households, but I focused on getting the cars for the kids and insuring those kids' cars. Christina's like, look, this is what really happened. We took care of our stuff and Cody and Robin shared everything. Utilities, house payments, they shared it all, meaning he's been putting more money into her house than the other wives' house from day one. If you think about it, I don't think Christine is lying. This is why. Think back to season 1 when Robin was moved to the place. In the book, I think it was said that he was able to move Robin and get her that house not far from where their house was because he had got a big commission off of one of his billboards and used that money to get her that house. Meaning you're putting all of your funds into that house. Christina's not lying. Janelle says, I don't know how it works at their house. I was always surprised, though, at how nice her backyard was. One thing about Janelle is she's not going to come out and deliberately say anything unless she definitely knows it for a fact. But I find it interesting that Janelle was the person who supposedly worked on the finances and did the taxes and things of that nature. And yet she's saying here that she doesn't know how it works. I feel like she's not being completely honest about that. You guys tell me what you think. She says, I was always surprised at how nice her backyard was, how finished it was, how she had all this stuff at her house. If we take time to read in between the lines, it's clear to me that Cody and Robin were probably using funds with some stuff that was supposed to be for the family on just Robin's stuff because Robin doesn't have a job. How is she able to get all of these things without a job? They all at this point are getting equal because they always said that they split the funds equally as far as the households go. Even though Mary only had one kid, it was split equally. So if they're all getting equal amounts, how is this person with all these mouths to feed because their budget is supposed to take care of their household and their food and all that stuff, and she's ordering out and doing all that, how is she able to do that and still do all those other things? So Robin says, Cody and I's money has always been separate. That, we didn't combine money until later on when Janelle and Christine asked to be out with family. I do not believe her. She then, really tries to play in our faces, y'all, because she tells us that she learned during her divorce how to, her words, budget stuff. No, you didn't, because you had all this unnecessary debt when you came to the family. You admitted when you were coming into the family that when you were trying to buy the houses, that you weren't paying certain bills. So how do you know how to budget stuff and you admitted that you weren't paying certain bills and you left your husband with all these different debts to Victoria's Secret and whatever else and brought additional ones to the family, but you knew how to budget yourself? Yeah, right. She says, you must have had, a different priority of where your money was going to go than I did. That's it. I cannot wait to watch that bird fall out of her nest, because how are you sitting there saying that Janelle, who was taking hand-me-downs from you, that Janelle, who always got the smallest of the homes and the smallest of the houses and always was really, really frugal with the way that she spent things, and admittedly didn't take her kids on a lot of trips and things of that nature. How are you saying that that person whose kids, a lot of them, the family didn't have to really pay for their schooling because they found other ways like the military, Hunter and Garrison, in order to take that? Maddie at one point had a scholarship. So how is it that you're saying that she didn't manage her money correctly, or Christine didn't manage her money correctly, when they obviously did? You just had additional funds and played with whoever's money you wanted to. Janelle now sees that she wasn't a priority. Cody feels like what she's talking about isn't right, that a lot of these wives just have misguided jealousy. Janelle says Cody cut off communication with them and with some of the kids and things of that nature. They get on the subject of Maddie. She says he cut communication with Maddie and Caleb when the family started to dissolve. The Bird says, that Maddie, and him, Maddie cut him off, and communication is a two-way street. Maddie is protecting her kids. That's what she's doing. Cody says, Maddie cut me off. But every time I talked to her, it was, a fish for gossip. And I got tired of it. When have we known Maddie to gossip? To me, what it sounds like is that Cody cut Maddie off. I think that Maddie wanted her father to be good to her mother. I think that Maddie wanted her father to be good to her brothers. I think that Maddie wanted her dad to be consistent and to be rational and to stop being angry and to stop complaining and fussing and trying to make it a us against them thing. I do not think that her questioning him is her fishing. But Bald Eagle refuses to be questioned and called out for his actions and behaviors. And as a result of that, he has to spin the narrative like him and his bird do and say that it's something that it isn't. So he's obviously, in my opinion, stopped calling her because she was not saying the things that he wanted her to say. She probably was calling him out on his crap. So we see Maddie again with her mom. They're looking at an area that is 5 hours away from where Christine lives. And Janelle says, it's 5 hours from the core family. I said, okay, Janelle, the core. They're in Montana. This land has an actual creek instead of Perry Poo Pond. It has actual water there year round. It looks a lot like Cody Pass to me, except there's natural water that's always there. It's also a prettier view if you ask me. It's 40 acres. They want animals and a greenhouse, a rural lifestyle. The only problem with this area is that the closest school, the town, is a 40-minute drive, which does add up. And is it really worth that? Even though she doesn't talk to Janelle, if Janelle leaves, the Bird says, it will just devastate me. Oh, she didn't actually cry this episode. I was surprised. Cody says, Maddie and Caleb living in Vegas was the best time of his life. But COVID and the divorce just, made it go sour. And Christine's like, look, cut the crap. Things were messed up before I left. Cody can fix things with his kids. He still has that opportunity. And then we have Cody, who admits to us that he's still angry. And he's not willing to take blame for things that his wives are saying that he did. And he hopes that, over time, contentment will subside and they'll be able to find forgiveness and love again. But Cody's problem is he cannot admit his wrongdoings. And that is the reason why he will continue to lose his kids. kids because he's not willing to stop being the jerk that he is, to stop being selfish, and to stop making it all about him. At no point has he really took into account how his kids feel. Instead, what he's done is he's tried to act like these moms have poisoned them over time because that's what the bird has done with her kids. We'll get into that later. Rather than realizing that those kids were not programmed by their mothers. They saw things for themselves. They saw how you treated their mom. Back in Salt Lake, there's a welcome home party for Isabel at Aspen's house. You have McKelty, you have Hunter, Maddie, the grandbabies. They're all there. Janelle isn't because she went back to Flagstaff. Christine wants to support Janelle in any way that she can, and she really does hope that she leaves Flagstaff and goes ahead and moves with Maddie. Her wish ended up happening, not until, a couple of years later, but we know that Janelle has purchased land somewhere and that she spends more time in Carolina than she does in Flagstaff. We hear about the whole pregnancy thing and all these other things and how the two girls are pregnant right now and what the plans are as far as the bird being at McKelty's birth. Christine says it could be awkward. And Robin says, I'm not going to allow it to be. I'm not going to allow this to be about me and my feelings because this is about McKelty and Tony. And I laughed when she said it because I said, since when has it not been about Robin's feelings? And y'all tell me what you think, because I really struggle with this whole McKelty situation, right? Because I just feel like, McKelty, why does Robin have to be there? Robin is not your bio mom, and Robin doesn't fight to have a relationship with you. You always seem to be the one fighting to have a relationship with her. And since that's the case, why do you need her to be in that room with you? Why do you have to include her in on everything? Her being at your first birth wasn't enough. You just got to have her at this one too. It just makes it really uncomfortable, and I don't like the idea of it. I feel like it's a little disrespectful to her mother. Maybe I'm being petty here, but there's some things that I just feel like is a bit much. You have a relationship with her after seeing what she's done to your mom and how she's, helped with the isolation and things of that nature. So be it. But why you want to keep rubbing her in your mother's face? Why do you want to keep putting your mother in this situation where she has to be put in awkward situations because you insist on throwing the bird down her throat? We're reminded that Christine has no relationship with the Feathers, that she is enjoying life, dating, and, just doing her. They sit down and eat. Christine says, I feel so blessed that I'm still able, even though I'm not married, to have a rich life. Peyton arrives. He's late. He's an hour away from where Aspen is. He announces that he is now a bouncer at a gentleman's club. Christine points out that's a bar. This is not the Utah that she pictured, but her kids are growing up and they're doing their own things. And she hopes that, at some point, other family members, other kids come to that area more. All right. Christine meets up with Janelle and Flagstaff to be nosy. One thing I've noticed about this is even though Christine seems like she's prying a lot, Christine's role at this point is to help move along some of these storylines, because as she said, Janelle's not disclosing a lot of things. So with Christine coming and being the bone collector, she's helping to get us to hear about some of these things. So Janelle says that she still loves it in Flagstaff, but she's realizing that she probably wants to be bought out, even though Flagstaff was her dream. She wanted farm life. She always wanted to have animals in a greenhouse and things of that nature. Meanwhile, despite whatever we've been told before, Cody wanted city life. How did he go? 1 minute he wanted city life, then he didn't. We've heard so many different stories about what Cody wanted. At this point, I don't think even Cody knows. I think it depends on the year. She says for her, Montana changed her mind because with Montana, she saw the possibilities because she realized she can get what they have at Coyote Pass elsewhere. Christine feels like at this point, it's a no-brainer for her to leave. Janelle says if she doesn't make a decision soon. If they don't make a decision, I mean soon, about that land, she's going to have to get a lawyer, because at this point she has no rights to make claim on anything because she's not legally married. I feel like, whether we agree with polygamy or not, that it is a disservice to these women who put in years and years and years, well, decades in Janelle's case, with these men. And if they leave, oftentimes they're left with nothing, which is why a lot of them don't leave. She's asked if her marriage with Cody is over, and Janelle says, yeah, it's over. We only talk via text. I still haven't said it to him directly that it's over, but I've let him know that I'm done, but he avoids me. Christine wants her to call and say that it's over, that she's done. And Janelle's like, look, this is the thing that I don't like when it comes to this situation with Christine. I don't like the push from Christine. We have a different dynamic, and I'm not going to approach this like her. That's fair. Cody feels like over time, him and Janelle faded away, that Janelle didn't come out and say anything, but they just pulled back. Mary is sitting there saying it's comical, because what Cody is saying Janelle did, as far as her not communicating with him and cutting back from him little by little, is the same thing that was done to her. I guess I really feel like Mary's trying to relate to Janelle in this situation. But Mary, whether he said it to you or not, he showed you in so many ways that he was done with you. And he did say on camera in different ways that you do not have a marriage. To me, that equates to I'm done. Janelle still believes in her faith. Cody, however, is calling it his former faith. And I want to know if his bird knows that. Janelle says she does not want to go back to him. She doesn't want to work for it. She doesn't want to conform to him, because he is on this whole obedience thing and him being the patriarch. And that's nothing that they ever discussed. Cody now backtracks and says that he never intended for this to be a patriarch situation. He did. He said it more than once. I think that at some point he felt like he had it, but he didn't. So now he's trying to backtrack and act like he didn't. We then hear that 8 weeks ago, Mary let the bald eagle know that she's going to ask for a spiritual release from the church leaders. Mary explains that when they all got married, they had a covenant, and she does not want to be sealed to him for eternity if he doesn't want her. That lets me know that she too still believes in plural marriage. Cody does not feel like he has to be accountable to the church. He says, I just need this whole thing to go away. It took forever for her to realize that it's been done for years. Seeing how Mary responded to everything before in the past, I do feel like Cody should have flat out, whether religion said it or not, told Mary to leave, because she's the type of person who you have to apparently use exact verbiage for, exact words. Tell her, I no longer want to be married to you. I want you to go to the church. I want you to ask for us to be unsealed. I don't believe in this religion anymore. I no longer have feelings for you anymore. Say all of that to her, because later on, him telling us about how he can't do it, he's been over it for years, that she's not the same person she was when they got married, and she changed, and he can't deal with her anymore because she's always angry with him, and he's a victim, and he got married to Janelle, and then her anger went from him to Janelle, and then when he got married to Christine, it went to Christine. Blah, blah, blah. Mary's mad at everybody. You don't want her anymore, so go ahead and end it. But no, he goes on to talk about how he wasn't able to end their relationship. He says, I didn't, there were points where I didn't want the relationship, but then there were points where I didn't necessarily want out because I wanted to know if we could fix it. He's full of crap. You're telling us here that you wanted out a long time ago, and then you're backtracking and going back and forth. That yo-yo crap. It's the same thing that he did with Mary. He said, when I was with her, she wasn't nice, she wasn't fun, she wasn't kind, she wasn't interesting. And I'm trying to be curious with her, but I'm bored. If you're bored with Mary, then what are you with the bird? Because she's definitely not interesting. I look at her face and I'm bored. No, I'm not bored. I'm more irritated than anything. But y'all get my point. He says, I didn't kick me out. Christine, Janelle, and Mary did. They all asked me to leave their homes. I'm not playing the victim card. I'm just saying that that's the way it was. And I wasn't going to leave them no matter how much I didn't love them. If that's the truth, then why are you so mad that they left? He says, Robin, from day one, she's been loyal to me. She's been loyal to her sister wives. That's the one thing that she brought into the family. What in the world does he consider loyalty? Because she's never been loyal to her sister wives. And the fact that he's saying that with a straight face, TLC, this is when you put in the clip of all the times where Robin wasn't loyal. But they're not going to do that because for whatever reason, they're laying in bed with the feathers. Back to Janelle and Christine. They talk Thanksgiving. Logan and Michelle bought a new home. Everyone's going to be at Logan's. Maddie and Caleb are the only ones that won't be there. Janelle has said nothing because all he's focused on at this point is the Bird's house. Janelle hates the word divorce, and she just says, like, there's no need to say it. I just tell people I'm no longer with the father of my kids. Cody then says Janelle doesn't want to go back with her, I can't remember if he said hat in hand, to the church leaders. That's why she doesn't want to define it. She wants to do what she always does. She wants to sweep stuff away. Cody, you do too. You don't address things either. Or you let them just simmer and simmer until you erupt, like how you did with Christine. Overall, the ladies are like, we hoped at one point that we could be cordial. At this point, even if we can't be cordial, we just want him to have a good relationship with his kids. But he's not adult enough for that. In a few weeks, they'll have a big family event. I'm wondering if that was Michelle and Logan's wedding. Everyone is going to be there. Christine says, with the text from last year, so much was said. Robin's older kids felt emotionally unsafe, according to Robin, and decided to put down a boundary. She says there was never anything in it about how we don't want to see you guys again. It just got yucky. Y'all kill me with that unsafe stuff. Because y'all keep talking about this text thread and we haven't seen it. And I don't feel like you should talk about it if you're not going to really allow us to see it. The most we got out of it was when Garrison told us some things about it and whatever some of the kids said on Patreon. So I don't really want to hear about it now if you're not going to show it. Then we hear this whole thing about how the Birds kids didn't feel welcome into the family. When they show Brianna and Aurora, I just find it interesting how it's always just those two that are given this narrative. Where's Dayton? Because Dayton is very capable of adding to this conversation. But what it is those two are the most programmed, in my opinion. They act just like their mom because you're trying to change the narrative and act like these kids did not welcome you with open arms when that's not the case. Y'all had your little spouts like siblings do. When I look back at being a kid, there's times that, me and my siblings got on each other's nerves. A couple years ago, I said something to my sister. I was a little too blunt and I ended up getting a call from my bonus mom because my sister's feelings were hurt. Does that mean that she's not my sister? No. Does that mean that I isolated her? No. It's just, it happens with kids. But what happened is they let the bird come in, change his narrative, and make it seem like it's something that it wasn't. They've been told directly, according to, I think it was Aurora, by multiple people. Oh, I got to talk like her. I've been told directly by multiple different people that, I was not accepted as their sister. Brianna's like, the parents could have done a better job connecting us as a family. Who? Which parents? Robin's kids are sitting there acting just like her with the trait of victimhood because the flashbacks and what we've seen on TV tell a very different story. We saw how you were included. We saw how these people, your mother got a legal marriage. You were adopted into the family. Money that was originally going to them got divvied up to you guys. You all were included on trips and all these other things. Your mother's the one who wanted to isolate you guys. Your mother's the one who wanted to make you guys remain like little kids because the longer she could keep y'all bound is the more she could get stuff out of Cody. But here we're going to act like none of that happened. Christine says, look, we always consider them family. My kids love them. At different points, some of my kids even live with her. Cody says, there are people in this family that feel like they're superior to others. And they're like, oh, we're not going to include them in our club. What is he talking about? What club? The isolation didn't happen with this family where things weren't being included, in my opinion, until you all decided to move to Flagstaff. And that was because you weren't doing the family dinners and things of that nature that you used to do. So don't act like they weren't being included. And at that point, a lot of the older kids were gone. They're not going to have the same relationship with those OG 13. Well, you can't even say the OG 13 because really it's like the oldest few that are the closest. So don't sit there and act like, oh my goodness, how did this happen? When it's clear how it happened. You live in each other's house for a certain amount of time. That's the closeness. I look at my mom's siblings, right? Both of my parents are not from here, right? So they came at various points in time. My mother is extremely close to one of her siblings out of the others because she was raised with that sibling, because they came to the United States at a different time than the others. That doesn't mean she doesn't love her other siblings. That just means she's very close to that sibling. But they want to make a thing of it like there's not times in life where, oh, I may be closer to my sister here because my sister needs more advice, or my sister, is longing for something, or I need to lean on her, or I may be, closer to my brother here because I need my brother for his support. It varies, but it's not bad. It's life. It's life. But they're turning this into something that it's not. He said he's going to find happiness and joy outside of the club because it was his club in the first place and he got kicked out of it, showing that you're the one who's creating this narrative. Janelle says, look, I enjoy not having Cody around. I enjoy not having to adjust for him to cook to his specifications because he's allergic to all these things or doesn't eat all these things. Meanwhile, the bird says whether he's there or not, it feels normal. You don't know what it's like not to have him there, bird. So how does it feel normal? And you don't cook because we already heard about all the takeout dishes in your stuff. So what are we talking about here? Mary can't remember what it's like. She laughs about it. Mary, I feel bad for you some days and some days I don't. Today I don't. Christine says she struggled with fitting him in her life. Janelle says she would do plural life again. She's at peace and she's okay despite not having the life that she once had. Christine says at this point it's harder for Janelle to leave because she's tied to the land and she's tied to her commitment to God. And that's the end. Overall, this was a good episode. I found myself getting upset just because it's continued I'm a victim thing. I will say that Cody seems to be calmer in these confessions, but he's still upset. And I don't quite understand what he's upset about, and he should go seek help. You all let me know what you thought of this video. Like it. It helps me. Leave your thoughts down below. Thank you all so much. Until next time.